All right, guys, sidewalk snow removal equipment is a relatively new thing to the market. There's a few different machines out there to do the job, and we gathered them up here today to show you a little comparison. First, we've got the two Snowrators, the original one made by LT Rich, and then the supposedly improved one now made by Boss. Then there's the ventrac that's set up with a brine tank and a drop spreader. And last is the z-plow kit, put on a steel green here. Same kit can go on a Z-spray. And full disclosure, I have to mention, we make the z-plow kits. So naturally there's some bias there. I'm gonna try to be straight up in the video, but just should let you know that. The kit that we make goes on a Z-spray or a steel green machine. Works great on both. The reason we've brought it here today on a steel green is because they're just a little bit better built. They have a little more power and they have a little bigger tires, which means more traction too. So naturally they work a little better for plowing, but both of them work terrific. So on to the comparison. Each of these machines really does three things. They plow, spread salt, and can spray liquid de-icer. So we want to compare those things, and first we're going to look at how each one can move along, because whether you're spreading salt, spraying de-icer, or plowing snow, the thing needs to move along to do each of these. And we decided a simple down and back would be a good way to show the differences here. So first up for our comparison is Snowrator versus Snowrator. This is the older version made by LT Rich in orange and the new version made by Boss in red. You can see we take off, they're really close in speed. If anything, the old one's a little faster, but I think that motor is just because it's revving higher. But notice when we turn how jerky they are. I don't think that would be so bad once there's some snow. So the tires can skid around a little easier, but if you do get good grip, might be an area of concern. And next, because the orange Snowrator seemed to be just a tiny bit faster, we decided to run that one against the ventrac. You can see we take off here, and clearly that ventrac scoots right along. It's still kind of jerky because it's got a skid to steer, but nothing like the Snowrator machine was. It's relatively smooth. You can see here as I try to park it, it bucks around a little bit, but it didn't take me much to get used to that thing and to get relatively smooth with it. And finally, the machine that I'm biased towards, the z-plow kit. You can see we take off. The z-plow is faster than the Snowrator in our test here. Not a ton, but it is faster. The bigger difference, in my opinion, is you can see when we turn around there, how it just turns. And as we park them here, you can see it just turns. It doesn't have to skid to steer. And so operating it is a lot smoother, a lot more predictable. More so than the ventrac, a lot more so than the Snowrator is. And last, just because we wanted to make sure we compared everything, we're gonna show the speed difference between the z-plow kit on the steel green, which does go a little faster than a Z-spray, not a ton, but it's a little faster, versus the Boss Snowrator. Okay, on to some good old-fashioned push-offs. First up is the Snowrator and the ventrac, but attempt number one didn't work out. We realized the steel plow on the ventrac was going to hit the poly plow, the top of the poly plow on the Snowrator, and we didn't want to scratch out this brand new Snowrator. So we got a log, we stuck it between the two, and that's what you can see we push with here. These two are actually all the machines were a relatively close matchup. You can see the ventrac pushes the Boss machine backwards. It's heavier and it's got a lot more horsepower. And so naturally we expected that. But really, the snowrator holds its own. And this test isn't super realistic because we're not on snow. Notice though how the front tires of the ventrac come off the ground as soon as it starts to push. The snowrator tires don't come off the ground, but they do when you're running the machine. You can feel they get really light. And I point that out because a lot of people have said, well, if the fertilizer machine that you put your plow kit on doesn't have four-wheel drive, how's it going to handle in the snow? And our response is, who cares? The front tires really are hardly touching the ground anyways. And speaking of how well can that fertilizer machine push, you can see here we go up against the ventrac first, and we put both plows in float, touch blades. Both of these blades don't tip forward to the point where they'd hit something, and this looks worse than it is. Josh on the ventrac just gunned it with the hydraulics, motor stalled. And so, yeah, it pushed the ventrac back, but you'll see here when we take a second attempt that the ventrac really does out-push on the steel green machine. It's heavier, it's got a little beefier hydraulics, and it grips the ground more. So it skids the steel green machine backwards. So now the z-plow versus the snowrator. This one really shocked me. I fully expected our kit to push this thing backwards because I've run them side by side and it could out-push the snowrator hands down, but that was in the snow. Here, see the tires on the snowrator spinning a little there. We have excellent traction, it's dry pavement. But look at the size difference in the tires. And remember, as soon as any of them start pushing, the front tires come just off the ground. And so when things do get slick, from the experience I've had, the z-plow could easily out-push the snowrator. Here, dry pavement though, different story. And you see here, they're both struggling, and boom, the snowrator gets a foot on the z-plow. And now on to salting. We'll do capacities first. The steel green machine that our kit is on, and also the Z-spray that our kit can go on. Both of those have this big hopper up front, holds, from our experience, 6 bags of salt pretty well. Spreads it pretty well. You can go narrow or you can go wider. And the liquid capacity, depending on the size machine you get, is either 30 or 60 gallons. The Boss snowrator, this one has the drop spreader option. That holds just over 100 pounds. And the liquid tank in the back of the machine holds 20 gallons. Similar to the snowrator, which also has a drop spreader, also holds 100 pounds, and also has a liquid capacity of 20 gallons. I think the big difference between these two in spreading would be the ventrac is difficult to load, but the Boss moves so much slower, the ground you'll cover is less. And let's demonstrate some of the salting. First, we'll load the machines. We don't have the snowrator for this demonstration, unfortunately. You can see there how quick and easy it is to load that open hopper on the steel green machine. And again, the Z-spray has the same hopper, loads just as easy. The ventrac here is really tough. The snowrator is not nearly this tough. That hopper is open, you can load it easy. It'll work really similar to the ventrac hopper. You can see I'm half done because on the ventrac, you need to load both sides through that little hole, and then really you ought to kick some of the salt into the middle. And that's just one bag. If I was to put another bag in there, I would need to kick some of that salt back with a glove on my hands or something to be able to fit both bags in there. And because the hole is small, you can see I'm struggling to get that bag all the way empty. Eventually, I just get frustrated and dump the rest of it into the hopper on the steel green. But for a lot of guys who spread a lot of salt on their walks, this is a big deal, just simply loading the salt. And so here I'll throw another bag in the steel green machine, and just, you can see it's quick, it's easy. How do they actually spread? Well, pretty darn good. That drop spreader is exact. You're limited on the width, which is good and bad. It doesn't take a lot of education to be able to get somebody to spread it even. But you can see the Z-plow kit, we can buzz along, spread it pretty heavy. And here's the other thing. If you've got some lots where you want to hit a spot, maybe a drive-through at a bank or a small lot that's out remote, and you don't want to run a salt truck out there, you could pretty easily spread the lot with that kit. Whereas you can see Eddie here on the ventrac, and then I try to throw some salt at him. It would take a long time to cover that parking lot. But I had a little left of my hopper. I figured we're cleaning it all up anyways. So I go out the back here and I just spread the rest of the parking lot. And you can see it doesn't take long to put those 2 bags down over this parking lot. Can't really see the salt hitting the ground as I go away, but when I turn back here, you'll see some. And again, bummer we didn't have the Boss machine for this demonstration. We just didn't have it this day, but the drop spreader will work similar as the ventracs. It'll just do it at half the speed. And last, finally, what do each of these setups cost? The ventrac is the most expensive of them because as we've tested it here so that it compares to the others as a machine that can plow, spray de-icer, and spread salt. So it's got the optional de-icer kit, liquid kit on it, and the optional drop spreader. But as tested here, that's really close to a $20,000 machine. One thing that ventrac has that really beats the other two hands down is if you run into deeper snow or drifts, you can get a broom for the front of it, and you can get a snowblower for the front of it. That's not an option for our kit by any means, and it's not an option for the snowrator either. So a little bit different machine, but you pay for it, $20,000 as pictured here. The snowrator is $13,000. I mean, pricing will vary a little bit among dealers, but when I checked, $13,000 as pictured here with the plow and the drop spreader on it. You can also get some trays on the back of the snowrator so it can hold more salt. I'd really recommend that if you do much salting at all, because just holding 2 bags isn't going to get you very far, especially if you have a bigger site. You spread those 2 bags and you've got to drive that slow back to wherever you're keeping salt to load up again. Going from 2 to 4 would be a big difference. And finally, on to our kit. It's the cheapest out of the bunch. Prices vary depending on which machine it goes on and a couple other little configurations. But either way, no matter which configuration you pick, it's under $4,000 for the plow kit. And that plow kit consists of the winter tires. They come on rims, ready to bolt up. The plow itself with the rubber edge you see there that sticks out to minimize damage. Plow is made out of all stainless or poly so that when you spread salt, it doesn't corrode. Also, the LED lights are included. There's a hand warmer that's included in the kit. All the hydraulics, all the plumbing, and you'd get some instructions. So that's something you'd call or email. We'd send you a kit. It'd take you a couple hours to install it, and you'd be plowing. So at under $4,000, it's clearly the cheapest, but that's assuming you have a Z-spray for that kit to go on. But we've been running these things for years ourselves. In fact, we use them a lot more than we build and sell them. And I can say from hundreds of miles of sidewalks plowed and thousands of bags of salt spread through them in the winter, they do hold up well. They work well. They're really a great setup. As you can see, this footage here that I'm showing is older footage. We don't have, it's just too early in the season to have footage of the steel green machine pushing snow, but you can see from what this Z-spray was doing a couple winters ago, they don't have any issue getting around in the snow. And if you get good at running it, you can spread salt and plow snow at the same time, which is pretty handy. The ventrac, again, that one's pretty unique. It can get the broom or a snowblower. The other ones can't do that. So if you're in an area that just gets hammered with huge snowfalls and tall sides become an issue for you, that's probably the machine for you. But for most guys, especially if you already have one of these fertilizer machines at a quarter the cost, and on most snow events it's going to get the same amount done, probably more when you're looking at salting too. This kit's really a slam dunk. You can check them out more at our website. It's z-plow.com. And you can fill out some contact info there if you're thinking you might want one. But that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Hopefully I've been mostly unbiased. I do like the ventrac. The snowrator, I just don't see the advantage to that one. It moves half as fast. It's got the smallest engine out of the bunch by far. It's got minimal salt capacity. And it's $13,000 the way it's pictured there, at least the price I got from a dealer. But the ventrac, it does have some real advantages. And our kit, if you've got a fertilizer machine already, like I said, that one's really a slam dunk. So check it out, z-plow.com, and we should have them available through the winter.